we got done. No, I'm live everywhere. So we just got done with the first gathering with Project Reforge with our guys, which is more of a data collection type of thing, figure out where everybody is. We did a lot of education. We recorded a bunch of it, and if you guys will follow Sean Hendricks, he's going to have a bunch of stuff. I'll have a bunch of stuff on this. It's going to be really, really cool. These guys are probably the best people we could have chosen. They're great individuals. We definitely need to walk them all back from where they are. They have issues just like all of us do. It's kind of funny because I keep telling people, like, we don't have to take them to a 0. We've got to take them down to where everybody else is. And the funny thing is that we got to take them from like their 9 and 10 down to like a 6, because everybody else is at about a 6. And it's funny when we start talking about the stuff that's going on, people go, well, I have that, and I have that. And I'm like, yeah, this is why, like, these guys aren't broken. They're just further down the road of depletion and, just constant beating than the average person. And so we're all in a position where we have too much stress, not enough time for ourselves, not enough things we need, lots and lots of limiting beliefs and doubts and stress and fear and, all sorts of stuff. And so this is going to be one of those things I think it's going to be beneficial for everybody in a lot of ways. But it's going to be fun. This is going to be one of those things where, this is as reality TV as it gets. It's not like we've already done this and we're going to start handing out like, oh, we're a year into this and everybody ended up doing great. And so, like, here's all the snippets of the ups and downs. You guys get to watch as we do this. You guys get to watch as things go through. You guys get to see these guys as they are now and as we walk through. And what's really, really cool, as with every single human being I've ever worked with, you get a surface level story, and sometimes the surface level stories are pretty bad. And then as you start peeling back the layers, you're like, oh, there's a lot more bad here. Like this is just doesn't just go down to when you were born. This is, your mom and dad, your mom and your grandparents. And so you have this lineage of trauma that, and programming and, toxicity that we're going to have to spend some time, walking through. And it's going to be great for a lot of these guys. The cool thing is that we know what doesn't work. All these guys have had therapy. A lot of these guys have had medication for these issues, and we know what doesn't work. The old idea of, Thomas Edison, when he was making a light bulb, he was like, you failed 10,000 times before you made a light bulb. And he was like, no, I didn't, because I found 10,000 ways not to make a light bulb. And people always laugh and they don't understand, like, that is one of the most critical pieces to developing a system that works, is trial and error. Like, we did a thing, it didn't work the way we wanted to. We analyzed what did work and what didn't work, and we moved forward. And we've been doing that a lot. Everybody on the team, not just me. So it's me, it's Christy and Nathan, Rossi, Christy Miller, Nathan Rossi, and it's Christina, and it's like all the guys that are there, where we've built this really solid team to kind of get everything where it needs to be. And it's really, really awesome. It's just the way the world works, the way the universe works. Is as we've been putting this together, people have been calling me out of the blue that I haven't talked to in 6 months or a year. And they're like, hey, we'd like to be, we want to work with you on something like this, and, like mental health or, some of the detox stuff. And I'm like, well, that's very timely. So it's going to be a really interesting path. I think it's going to be really fun. I'm going to work with these guys each one of the guys once a week. They're going to be working with us really closely. We're going to do Zooms and stuff. We'll record some of these things. We're going to be doing some podcasts with a lot of these guys. I have a lot of friends that I haven't pulled for podcasts yet. They've got a lot of friends that haven't pulled for podcasts yet. And so we're going to be like, hey, it's kind of time to get everybody together. We're going to start talking about some of this stuff. One of the things that I don't think people fully understand is what happens to these veterans and what happens in NFL guys. Apparently, because we were talking about the two groups, NFL athletes, when they leave the NFL, and veterans when they leave the military or the armed services, they suffer a lot of the same issues. And so I'm going to bring some of my pro athletes on and talk to them about what happened with them and how their life has changed. And we're going to go through some of this with the veterans and that type of thing. Environment is a giant part of your sustainable functional life. And when you lose your environment, you lose yourself. And that is, when you start talking, it's one of those things that, like I was telling the guys, as we were talking about NLP and that type of thing, I said, what NLP basically helps you do is we tell you something and you're like, that is so obvious, it's silly, but I didn't see it before you said it. And then once you say it, you're like, oh my gosh, I can see this all over my world. And you're like, yeah, like you were programmed against this filter. And now that we've explained it to you, you see it everywhere. It's kind of like one of those things where if you tell somebody you shouldn't say this word, and then they realize how often they say that word, and they're like, oh my gosh, I had no idea. And you're like, yeah. Or you're like, hey, look for this thing in this person. And it's one of those things that, like, once you bring awareness to an object or to a thing or to an action, you start noticing it more. And that's where a lot of this is, because a lot of at the end of the day, like, it's not like, there's some things in NLP that you feel like, sit down and learn and are difficult, but most of them are, oh my gosh, that is obvious. How did I not see that before? And there was a lot of that awareness and the kind of things that come to you with some of the guys. So we'll walk through it. We're gonna get a lot of this stuff as much as we can out. I want you guys to kind of really understand where things are. It's not just that, because people think, oh, well, you were overseas and people were shooting at you, and that's obviously what caused the problem, but nobody's shooting at me. At the same time, all of us have our environment ripped out from underneath us. Some of us, whether you get fired from a job or, you've got to move or you get divorced or whatever. And what I really want to do is bring light to the things that cause the trauma that we all are dealing with. These guys might have been dealing with it a lot more. These guys might have had a much bigger slap in the face. And what I think to be interesting is that a lot of times it's not the people shooting at you that create the problem. It's lack of structure and environment and surrounding, all of a sudden. And we'll go through that. I've got a couple of people I want to bring on to specifically talk about their environment, their world, and how these things happen. Because I think if we start to understand where these problems are instead of what we're told, I think that people are going to understand where these people are coming from, and that I think they're going to be able to draw, parallels with themselves. And they're going to be like, oh, this is why I have these issues. This is why I have those issues. This is where my relationships are all sideways. And so this is going to be one of those things I think that's going to be really fun. This type of information just hasn't gotten out to people. We did things here when they came in, and all of them were like, because I talked to these guys before, and they're like, oh, and they get here and they're like, everything we did was weird. And they're like, not just like a little bit weird, it was like super weird, and which is great, because weird means things they haven't done, and what we know for a fact is the things that they have done didn't work for them. And so what we're going to do is like, okay, we got to do something different. The medication isn't working for you. If the psychotherapy, the talk therapy isn't getting it done, then we just need to find new things, and we need to find the thing that works for you. So that's one of those things that we're going to go through. We're going to go through a lot of these new things. We're going to ask them, how did it work for you? And some of these guys are going to be like, oh, it was amazing. Some of these guys will be like, I didn't see much benefit from it. Cool. All right. And the idea is, as we go through, it might be one of those things where they're like, hey, I didn't see much benefit in this when I started, but now that I kind of look back, it made a big difference or not. So that's kind of where we're going to go. It's going to be really, really fun. I guarantee you we're going to talk about things that you have never heard of before, and a lot of it's going to seem like wackadoodle crazy, and that's fine. So, especially the stuff I do. So it's going to be really, really fun. We're going to get through it, and so we'll start doing this stuff. So just follow the Sean Hendricks and follow me, and especially on X, and we're going to have a good time. So this weekend was really beneficial. So we'll start putting stuff together, and we'll start pushing stuff out probably in about a week or so. So, all right, I'll see you guys then. Have a great day. Thanks for your time.